Welcome to the deep dive. So, if you're the one who sent us that huge stack of articles on the AI boom recently, wow, it felt like drinking from a fire hose, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
The sheer amount of innovation, the investment, and just, well, the speed of it all.
Yeah.
It's kind of unprecedented. If you're feeling overwhelmed, trust me, you are definitely not alone.
It really is a dizzying time. I mean, looking through everything you sent, it's clear the conversation's moved way past theory. We're talking massive physical deployment now.
Yeah.
The scale of the money pouring in and the tech leaps that result, they're not small steps anymore. It feels exponential.
Totally. So our mission today is really to cut through all that noise. We're going to try and perform a bit of a surgical strike on your sources, pull out the really critical shifts happening right this minute.
Okay.
So first, that huge infrastructure arms race and maybe some of its hidden costs. Second, the jump in what these models can actually do, moving beyond just language models to, well, agents.
Autonomous agents, yeah.
Exactly. And finally, the kind of immediate real-world impacts and the ethical questions your sources brought up.
And you know, what really stood out reading through it all was this dual nature. On one side, you've got just incredible technological progress, right? Like models hitting human-level skills in weeks. Amazing.
Right.
But on the other hand, it's happening so fast, it should probably, frankly, terrify VCs and climate scientists alike. It's not if AI will change things anymore, it's how fast. And maybe at what actual cost.
Yeah, the true cost.
So let's unpack that. Maybe start with the money. The colossal investment that's fueling this whole thing.
The numbers are just astronomical. We saw those reports, like Nvidia putting potentially $100 billion just towards OpenAI's infrastructure. I mean, that one number alone should make anyone who follows markets just sit up and pay attention.
It really should. And the analysts in your sources, they're reacting exactly like that. They're pointing to something they call circular financing between these big AI players.
Okay, what's that mean exactly?
Yeah.
Circular financing.
Well, think of it like this. Company A pumps a load of money into Company B's infrastructure,
Right.
which then pretty much ensures Company A gets priority access to the best chips or cloud time or whatever Company B provides. It's kind of a mutual back-scratching thing.
Huh?
But it also looks a lot like some patterns we saw in past tech bubbles.
And the big risk there is.
Well, the insight from the sources is that this kind of financial interdependence, it creates a pretty unique systemic risk for the whole sector.
Okay.
So if one major player, say a key chip maker or a big cloud provider, suddenly hits a wall, maybe a market correction or a cash crunch, that shared interconnected risk, it could cause the huge valuations we've seen build up over the last few years to just unwind globally across the whole ecosystem. It's a potentially fragile way to grow.
Wow. And that $100 billion figure we mentioned, that's just, what, a fraction of what's expected?
Oh, easily. Just a drop in the bucket compared to the forecasts.
Yeah.
Some suggest global AI infrastructure spending could hit $4 trillion by 2030.
$4 trillion.
Trillion, yeah. It's a staggering amount. And it's driven by this just immense, almost, incomprehensible demand for raw computing power.
Right. Because the goals these companies have are huge.
Exactly. You look at what they're aiming for, OpenAI, for instance, wanting to scale its compute capacity by 125 times.
125x, not percent, times.
Times, yeah.
Yeah.
125 times by 2033. To even attempt that, they need physical space, they need power grids that can support facilities that just dwarf today's data centers.
Which brings us to the actual physical side of this arms race.
Yep.
Your sources mention things like Elon Musk's Colossus 2. Is that the one reported to be the first 1 gigawatt AI facility?
That's the one. And for listeners, a gigawatt. That's the kind of power you usually talk about for a small city, not, a single building.
Right, a whole city's worth of power for one facility.
And that 1 GW figure, that's the immediate, tangible climate alarm bell ringing.
Yeah.
We read that just one OpenAI data center could end up using as much electricity as New York City. Now imagine dozens of those things popping up all over the world. Experts are warning, look, if this pace keeps up, AI infrastructure could soon be sucking up maybe 12% of all global power.
12%.
That's the core conflict right there.
Right.
Incredible digital speed needing potentially unsustainable physical resources.
So, okay, the demand's massive, the energy use is potentially catastrophic. Is the industry doing anything about it? Trying to make it more efficient?
They absolutely have to. The pressure is huge, which is why we are seeing some optimization breakthroughs. The sources mention techniques like flash attention. That's a specific innovation, making large language model training much more efficient, both in terms of memory and time. Think of it like teaching the AI to use its RAM much, much smarter,
Okay.
which significantly cuts down the energy bill and the time it takes to train these huge models. So yeah, it contrasts the challenge with, actual solutions being worked on. So a sprint for power, but with this giant energy bill attached. Okay, let's pivot a bit. From the cost of the hardware to what these massive power-hungry systems are actually, doing in terms of performance.
Right. And this is where it gets, well, frankly, shocking sometimes. The new performance levels, they really change the whole human-AI dynamic. Sources were reporting GPT-5 isn't just like a bit better than GPT-4.
No.
No. It's reportedly surpassed human professionals by over 40% across 9 different industries.
Hold on. 40% better than a human professional. That's not just a tool anymore. That sounds like an autonomous partner almost.
Pretty much.
But how solid are those claims? Is that measured on, basic stuff or real expertise?
That's the crucial question, right? And the analysis seems to come from testing on complex, real-world professional tasks, not just asking it to write a poem.
Okay.
It suggests GPT-5 could function almost like a senior research assistant or maybe a project manager in fields from law to software engineering. And it's not just theoretical. There was that fantastic anecdote you sent about Scott Aronson. Oh, yeah, the quantum complexity breakthrough.
Exactly. GPT-5 apparently assisted with that research, which shows it's contributing at the absolute edge of science, not just, summarizing news articles.
That's incredible. But what's also fascinating looking through the sources is it doesn't seem to be a winner-take-all thing with one giant model. We're seeing a lot of specialization too, right? In diversification.
Absolutely. That's a key trend. While the big names get the headlines, a lot of the depth engineering is in specialized models. Meta, for example, they put out their open-weight code world model.
Right. 32 billion per
Yeah,
year.
32B parameters, designed specifically for tricky coding and reasoning tasks. And the breakthrough there is it can apparently simulate Python execution inside its head.
Whoa.
So it doesn't just suggest code, it kind of runs mental dry runs. It helps it handle complex, multi-step software tasks much more accurately than older models.
So Meta's focusing on code, while other companies are optimizing for different things, maybe speed or recall.
Precisely. At the same time, you see something like Qwen 3 Max pop up as a top model in independent rankings for tasks that don't need heavy reasoning. This specialization trend suggests the future might be more like a mosaic, Different models, each best at a specific job, all working together.
And what really jumped out at me was how fast this really advanced capability is getting, well, cheap.
Yeah.
Really accessible.
That's the democratizing part, isn't it? We saw Google's Gemini 2.5 Flash Lite 09 offering a 1 million token context window.
1 million tokens. That's like several novels worth of information at once.
Exactly. And doing that for just 40 cents, that kind of context basically eliminates the need to manually feed it background info. It gives regular users and small businesses analysis power that used to be only for huge companies.
And that affordability must be coming from just relentless work on efficiency, right? How are engineers actually doing that?
Yeah, it's attacking the problem from lots of angles. We read about new tools like Super Offload apparently speeding up training by up to 2.5 times on the newest chips. Well, basically, engineers are finding clever ways to reuse calculations from previous steps, like never having to solve the same math problem twice. It cuts down the time and the resources needed significantly.
Okay.
And we also saw things like LMCache, which cuts the cost of actually running the models, the inference part, by reducing repeated computations there, too.
And for people maybe tinkering on their own machines, the sources suggested even regular computers are getting more powerful for this stuff.
That's right. Thanks to projects expanding support for things like Apple Silicon, using toolkits like MLXLM LoRa, it's making powerful Macs genuinely useful for quite advanced AI work, like fine-tuning models.
Which pushes development out of just the big cloud data centers, right, onto local machines. Good for cost, good for privacy, maybe.
Exactly.
Okay, so the models are smarter, they're cheaper. But maybe the biggest shift we saw wasn't just the base models, but the rise of these autonomous agents. It really sounds like they've finally moved past being just, brittle demos that always broke.
They really seem to have matured, yeah. There was that agent company, Droids. They apparently topped Terminal Bench.
Which is a big deal benchmark for agent reliability, right?
It is, and they closed a $50 million funding round. That signals real market confidence. Microsoft even rolled out an open agentic web stack for Azure.
What did that do?
It lets these sophisticated AI agents basically reason, work together, and carry out complex jobs across huge enterprise systems. Think coordinating tasks across different departments automatically.
And what was the key insight about how well these agents actually perform? Was there anything surprising?
Yeah, actually, the most counterintuitive thing was that agents designed to be model agnostic, meaning they can use any underlying AI model, actually outperform specialized agents on complex coding tasks.
Really? Why?
It suggests the real magic isn't just raw power in one area, but maybe flexibility, orchestration, the agent's skill at picking the right tool for the job at the right time. That versatility seems to be a huge strength in the real world.
Okay, so we've got these super smart, efficient digital agents coordinating complex tasks. Now let's talk about them literally breaking out of the computer screen, getting physical. Google DeepMind launching Gemini Robotics 1.5 and ER 1.5.
Yeah, this is a potentially huge shift. This isn't just software anymore. We're talking about robots that can understand natural human instructions, figure out how to do complex physical tasks, and then actually do them with better reasoning and physical dexterity.
What's the core innovation there?
The key development, highlighted in your sources, seems to be separating the planning from the execution.
Okay.
So, older robots, often programmed with a very rigid step-by-step plan. Now, the AI model acts more like a general. It comes up with the high-level strategy.
Right.
And the robot's physical systems act like the soldier in the field, adapting how it executes the plan based on what it's actually sensing and encountering in the real world moment to moment.
That distinction, the general and the soldier. That allows these AI agents to go from just being software to being truly autonomous physical robots.
Precisely. And the sources suggest this could revolutionize things like manufacturing, logistics, maybe even healthcare, by giving robots that crucial ability to handle messy, unpredictable, real-world situations.
Okay, switching gears a bit, but still on real-world impact.
Yeah.
Generative media. It feels like the lines are blurring incredibly fast there. And it presents this massive dual challenge, right?
Oh, definitely. We saw the light and the dark sides right next to each other in the material. On the positive side, some of the new professional video tools look stunning. Luma AI Ray3 targeting high-end cinematic results. Higgsfield WAN making continuous high-quality video with sound perfectly synced up.
Speeding up professional work dramatically.
For sure. And then there was that final technical hurdle for image generation, getting legible text inside the image.
Yeah, that always looked weird before.
Right. Well, Tencent open-sourced HunyuanImage 3.0, a model that can apparently render really consistent, high-quality text right within the picture. It was famously hard, and cracking it is a big step towards truly controllable photorealistic generation.
But that amazing capability immediately raises the flip side.
Right.
What happens when you just can't trust images or videos at all? We saw the societal trade-offs right there in the sources. The positive example, an AI-generated actress, Tilly Norwood, apparently nearing Hollywood representation. That's a huge shift in creative labor.
A huge shift. But the severe downside is glaringly obvious, too. Reports of dozens of women being targeted by those AI-powered nudify apps.
Horrible.
Yeah, generating realistic, non-consensual fake images from real photos. And that immediately sparked urgent calls for much tougher regulations. It just highlights how dangerously accessible these powerful tools have become.
And this gap, the speed of the tech versus the speed of governance, it's hitting the job market really hard too, isn't it?
It really is. You see OpenAI CEO Sam Altman predicting AI could automate maybe 40% of workplace tasks by 2030. That puts intense pressure on everyone to adapt.
And we're seeing companies react already.
Yeah, U.S. firms like DraftKings, Salesforce, they're reportedly cutting back on general hiring in some areas, but at the same time, they're emphasizing AI skills as basically mandatory for new roles.
Okay, but here's the big kind of surprising contradiction that came out of the source material. It challenges that whole idea that AI is just this universal productivity booster. There was new research finding that AI coding assistants can actually reduce productivity for experienced developers by up to 19%.
That is a critical finding, yeah. And the sources suggested it wasn't because the AI wrote bad code.
No. Then why?
It seemed to be more about friction and cognitive load. For an expert developer who already knows their stuff, the time and mental energy spent managing the AI assistant, checking its suggestions, figuring out how to integrate its code smoothly into a complex existing system, basically the overhead.
Right.
That overhead can actually outweigh the benefit of the AI spitting out the initial lines of code faster. For the expert, sometimes the tool just gets in the way.
That finding about friction and even reduced performance for experts leads us right into these really crucial issues of trust and transparency. I mean, if we can't trust the tools, how can we integrate them effectively?
Exactly. And we saw reports about OpenAI, for instance, silently switching ChatGPT to use a different, more restrictive model, apparently called an emotional model, internally when dealing with sensitive topics.
To boost safety, presumably.
That seems to be the intent, yeah. Curb misuse, increase safety, probably good intentions. But the backlash was immediate and pretty fierce because it was done with zero transparency. Users weren't told about the change, and crucially, they weren't given a way to opt out.
And that lack of control just feeds into the privacy concerns we also saw in your material, right?
It definitely does. Privacy advocates are raising alarms about Google's Chrome browser now that it has tighter Gemini AI integration. The worry is it's gathering vast amounts of user data to make the assistant work better.
Because the browser sees everything you do online.
Pretty much. So that closeness between the core browser, your window to the internet, and the AI assistant that needs data to be useful, it's prompting really serious calls for stronger privacy controls. It forces you, the user, to rethink the real cost of these tools that seem free.
So, okay, the tech's moving incredibly fast. The ethics and transparency are lagging behind. What does all this mean for you, the listener, who's just trying to stay informed and maybe stay ahead of the curve?
It means learning and, crucially, rigorous evaluation are more important than ever. You just can't afford to take vendor claims at face value anymore.
Right.
The sources highlighted some great resources becoming available, like that free open access textbook on data structures in Python, or that Evaluate or Perish masterclass focusing on really robust error analysis for AI systems. The focus has to shift from just using the tools to really understanding and vetting them.
And that focus on solid data, on empirical evidence, seems key to cutting through the hype. I like seeing that GDPval dataset mentioned.
Yeah, GDPval is potentially invaluable for that because it provides an objective, empirical way to look at things. It tracks capability growth, apparently pretty linearly, across 44 different jobs and 9 industry sectors.
So it gives researchers and analysts a standardized ruler to measure where AI progress is actually making an impact on the workforce, instead of just relying on, company press releases.
Exactly. A dose of reality.
And for the average consumer, we're already seeing these sophisticated capabilities getting woven into everyday tools, often quite proactively.
That's the convenience factor kicking in, right? OpenAI launching ChatGPT Pulse, that feature that gives you personalized daily summaries and suggestions based on what you've been doing in ChatGPT.
So the tools aren't just waiting for you to ask anymore. They're getting smarter, faster, and more embedded in how we make decisions day to day. #tag outro.
So if we try and tie all these threads together, connect them back to the big picture, the central tension in this AI boom seems really clear now, doesn't it?
Yeah, lay it out.
Okay, you've got this unprecedented speed and capability. Think that 40% jump beyond human experts. That's fueled by absolutely massive, potentially risky financial investment. Some analysts genuinely fear it's creating an interconnected market bubble.
Right. Bubble risk.
And all of that speed and money is colliding head-on with this growing urgency around, well, 2 big things: energy consumption and ethical transparency.
Yeah.
How much power does this take, and can we trust how it's being deployed?
It's a really potent, very high-stakes mix. We've definitely seen the incredible speed of innovation in the material you sent. But the sources also left us with this really provocative final thought. It said that as companies rush, maybe too quickly, to adopt and integrate AI, something like 79% of them expect to hit costly setbacks later on because of poor planning and oversight.
Yeah.
And the experts have this ominous name for it: AI debt.
That's right. And that debt, it isn't just technical debt like bad code. It's organizational debt, ethical debt, financial debt. That's the shadow kind of lurking behind that $4 trillion forecast we talked about.
So we'll leave you with this question to think about after processing this deep dive. Given the absolutely staggering costs, the risks tied up in that massive infrastructure investment, and this looming reality of potentially crippling AI debt, should the whole industry's focus now maybe fundamentally shift? Move away from just how fast can we possibly build it toward how well, how reliably, and how responsibly can we actually integrate it?
That integration challenge, that seems key.
Definitely something to mull over as you keep watching this space evolve.